In our last video, we installed VirtualBox, and then we saw some of the inbuilt network configurations. So we also created a virtual machine with no operating system. So in this video, we are going to see how we are going to configure Windows 7, which is a virtual machine we just created. So let's go to settings, and then we have general. Here we can see the configurations we did earlier. We can go to advanced, snapshot folder. Earlier I talked about snapshot, which takes the current system's configuration and saves it. So should in case there is a configuration failure, you can revert back to your old configuration. You have description and this encryption. This encryption is it's like which helps you to encrypt your hard drive, but I wouldn't encrypt my virtual machine's hard drive, not for any reason, because I don't keep any data on it. So we go to system, and this is the memory we allocated, and this is the boot order. Mostly when you turn a machine on for the first time and you switch to the boot menu, you will see this boot order: floppy, optical, hard drive, and network. And then this is the processor. This is just like the CPU, right? If you have about 8 CPUs, 4 CPUs, then you know how to configure your CPU for your virtual machine. But I will advise you to keep these settings at default. And acceleration, I will talk about this somehow later. VTX is a technology. Already we said VirtualBox is a virtualized environment where you can run virtual machines. So you have to enable VT. Enabling VT here is a virtualized technology. It's a hardware virtual. Here enables you to run a virtual machine within a machine, just like installing VirtualBox, running server on your local Windows through VirtualBox. But enabling this function here wouldn't solve the problem. I'll show you later on somewhere in BIOS where you have to activate VT to support your VirtualBox, to enable virtual machines to run within this virtualized environment. And we go to display, you see the video memory. Just like any physical computer which is being installed, I will advise you to leave this settings as default. And we go to storage. Here you can see the storage we assigned to the Windows, and we have an empty CD-ROM here through which we will install our Windows 7. So when you go to attribute, you have SATA port 1, and then here you have the option to browse to a location where we can find Windows 7. So we'll click on this, and we will go to choose optical disk image. So here I have my ISO here for Windows 7 image. I'll click on it, and I'll go to audio, and you might want to leave these things at default, but here is the physical network interface for this current Windows 7 machine. And we have adapter 1, adapter 2, 3 and 4. 2, 3 and 4 is currently disabled, and then when you enable it, it's just like adding network interfaces to your system unit. So by default, system unit comes with one network interface. So in case you are using your system for other configurational purpose, like routing, you might want to have two network interface cards. So you have one here and you have the other here. For this lesson, let me disable this one, and we have adapter 1, so it's enabled, and we will look at which network is attached to. We will look at NAT. NAT is an inbuilt DHCP server which runs within VirtualBox. By default, you can't change its IP, and we have a NAT networking, so it also runs through VirtualBox. And then we have bridge adapter. Bridge adapter will bridge your virtual machine directly to the network source or the internet source from which your virtual machine is being supplied with internet. In other words, if you have a router running on DHCP and then you bridge your Windows 7 to that particular network, your machine will be assigned an IP address that is on the same network with your local machine, which is receiving internet from a router. So it will be like having two separate machines being assigned IP address from the router, but on one way or the other, you are running one from a VirtualBox, and this one is internal network. This one is internal network, which also runs within VirtualBox, and this is host only adapter, where this is what we configured earlier on. So for our sake, I will advise you to choose host only adapter, and here you have the option to choose from pre-configured IP addresses for the host only adapter. And then if you remember, we configured on adapter 6, so we go there. Advanced options, but wouldn't be very necessary. And as you can see, it's a cable connected, so this machine is cable virtually connected to this network through a cable, which we can't see, but that's why we say it's a virtual environment. And then we have serial ports, which is not quite necessary, and then we have USB enabled. This is the reason why we installed the extension pack to our machine, extensible functionality to accept USB inputs. And we have shared folders here. Later in the future, I'll show you how to share a folder from your local machine to your virtual machine. And then you have the user interface. This appears most when you launch your virtual machine. So right now we have everything set. Let's try and see if we can install Windows 7 on this virtual machine. So I'll click on start, and then I'll minimize this one. So as you can see, it's starting. So as you can see, it's starting, but the window size is not quite friendly. So what we will do is we go to view, and then we will go to scaled mode, and then we will try to maximize it. So just like any other Windows 7 installation, we will have the same here, and we will try to install Windows 7. This is not much different from any other Windows 7 installation. The only different thing is we are installing it on a virtual machine, and as you can see, it's just like using a bootable USB to install Windows on any other machine without an operating system. So I'll go to next, and then install Windows R2 activated. Let's wait for a while. Right, so we have a list of operating systems here from which we want to install, and then let's choose Starter 32-bit. Next, accept. Next, then we go to custom, and this is the hard disk that we assigned. So you see, it's not different from any Windows installation. The only different thing is we are installing from a virtual machine, and then the most important thing is to know how to configure your VirtualBox. Go to next, and then like I said, it's just like installing Windows 7 on any computer system. So